Buff Dudes and Girls, welcome to the at-home 12-week workout plan by the Buff Dudes. This plan is going to be consisting of 4 phases. Each phase is going to be 3 weeks long. So the first phase is going to be focusing on full body workouts 3 days a week, concentrating on those big compound movements like squats, deadlifts, bench press, overhead press, really fine-tuning your physique and also getting that form perfect. And as you progress through the phases, phase 2 is going to be splitting up the body groups into 4 days a week. Phase 3 is going to be splitting up the body group even more with 5 days a week. And finally on phase 4 is going to be 6 days a week with the most advanced movements. It's going to be supersets, drop sets, plyometrics, you name it, we got it. So the whole key is here is if you're a beginning lifter, you can still do this program because it slowly implements more advanced movements and techniques. So that way it's becoming maybe just a dude into a buff dude or girl. But if you're already an advanced lifter, it's okay because what you're gonna do is just pretty much fine-tune your physique and form on the beginning phases and then slowly progress into a normal program that you might already be used to. This is gonna be working on getting ripped. It's also gonna be working on hypertrophy in the muscle because you're still hitting around that 12 to 15 rep range. You're not gonna be gaining a lot of strength on this program, but that's okay because you're definitely gonna feel it and you can lose a lot of body fat and hopefully gain a lot of lean muscle mass.
We love the feedback and suggestion from last year's 12-week plan, and we've tried to implement all of that into this year's as well. We've got cardio, abs, nutrition, along with each 4 phases in detail and a frequently asked questions. So if you haven't viewed and downloaded the PDF in the description below, do it now. You're gonna need it and it's gonna help you out. We're really excited with this plan because we try to build it for both people who work out at home and for those who work out at the gym. So we're going to be doing 2 different videos for each phase of this plan. One at home like we're doing now and one at the gym. All right, having said that, we're about to get started on phase 1. Let's do it. So each day in each phase of the 12-week home workout is going to begin with a 10-minute warm-up. You can do this as I am now, either at a fast-paced walk, a jog, or a little bit of jump rope. Immediately following that warm-up, you're going to move on to the mobility workout.
Mobility workouts can be performed around 5 to 10 minutes depending on how long it takes you to get through the sets and repetitions. We're including all of these mobility exercises, or at least our favorite that we're including in the program, in an extra video because we really don't want to show it before every single video, just so that way we condense it and really focus on the workouts themselves. And what you want to do in the first phase is going to be full body workouts, so we're going to do full body mobility, upper and lower. But as the phases progress, it's going to be splitting up the body from upper body workouts and then lower body workouts. So then what you're gonna do is split the mobility work in between too. So if you're doing the lower body workout, you're gonna do lower body mobility, and upper body workout, you're gonna do upper body mobility.
Exactly. We wanted to keep these videos as condensed and fast-paced as possible. So even though we'll be doing the warm-up and the mobility warm-up at the beginning of each workout, we won't be showing it. So just plan on doing that. So exercise 1 on day 1 of phase 1 is going to be squats. 5 sets of 15 repetitions. As you can see, Brandon loaded it up, just the bar itself, strapped it on his back, and he's repping those out. As you know, we do have a power rack, which you can see here, but you're going to notice that throughout these workout videos, we're not going to be using it. The reason being is if you own a power rack, feel free to use it on exercises such as squats, bench press, pull-ups, and more that we'll be doing, bent over rows. But we're trying to keep in mind the people that don't have access to such items such as the power rack, so we won't be using it, but if you do have it, feel free to use the power rack.
So as you notice in this program, it's gonna be 5 sets of 15 reps on this first phase with a lot of these big compound movements. A couple reasons being, one is that we know a lot of people don't have a lot of weights at their home gym, so you really want to try to exhaust those muscles as much as you can by upping the volume, and we're going to do that as well as with back and chest.
The great thing with this plan is it is customizable, so if you're not so interested in higher sets and reps, you can feel free to decrease that slightly and up the weight. For instance, you can do 4 sets of 12 to 8 repetitions if you're looking more for size and strength. Of course, you're going to want to up your calories as well. The way we set it up was more for leaning out, getting ripped, building that lean muscle mass, shedding that body weight. But if you want to add that size and strength, just lower the reps and increase the weight and the calories.
All right, now we're moving on to bench press. It's going to be 5 sets of 15 reps. We have a bench here that we made in the DIY series, But you don't have to make one or even buy one. You can actually just grab a camping cooler and use that as your bench, like we actually did when we were younger before we had any of this equipment. So but today, thankfully, we're all grown up and we have our own very bench, own personal bench. We're gonna be using that with the flat bench presses.
Okay, so as you can see, we're using a little bit of lighter weight. We have 25 pounds on each side. The goal here is to increase as each week progresses. Each phase has 3 weeks. This is week 1. We're starting a little bit lighter. We're kind of getting into the groove of things. So we're starting with that 25 pound. Week 2 will go a little heavier. Week 3 will even get a little bit heavier than that, and then we'll progress onto phase 2. We're trying to really, so by the 15th rep, we're really feeling it. We're hitting that muscle fatigue, and we're gonna increase that weight just a little bit each week so we keep hitting that muscle fatigue and we don't get too much into a groove where we feel comfortable and we're not making any advances. Next, we're gonna be moving on to the kneeling overhead press. We're doing this simply because the ceiling isn't tall enough down here in our basement, but there's an additional benefit from doing it this way because then you can have no bounce in your legs. What you do want to do is just keep your hips stable throughout the duration of the exercise.
So we got major compound movements out of the way. We did squats, bent over rows, bench press, and overhead press. Now we're taking care of the smaller muscle groups with a little isolation. This is going to be external rotations. It's hitting the infraspinatus, which is part of the rotator cuff, also the teres minor, and it's really going to help stabilize that shoulder joint through various big movements like the bench press, overhead press, even pull-ups. So we're tacking this on at the end, really trying to gain some strength in that rotator cuff to make sure it's gonna be stable throughout all the other phases, because as the intensity and the volume increase, you don't want those smaller muscle groups to lag behind the bigger muscle groups. We're gonna do 3 sets of 12 reps on these guys.
All right, we're gonna be moving on next to the seated calf raises. That's gonna be 3 sets of 15. As you can see, it's kind of a great little DIY calf raise. Brandon's just putting his feet onto 2 pairs of dumbbells and putting the barbells on his knees so he can get the full range of motion with each rep. If you're feeling a little discomfort on your thighs and knees due to the barbell being placed on it, just make sure and put a pad on there so that you don't injure or cause discomfort.
So now we're moving on to the abs. We're gonna start off with 3 sets, 30 seconds of mountain climbers. You're gonna get into the push-up position and then just act like you're running in place, bringing the knees as high as you can and switching legs quickly. So you're gonna last for those 30 seconds. It's gonna be tough, but you wanna keep those abs contracted throughout the exercise. Then we're gonna move on to planks, which is also a timed exercise. It's gonna be 3 sets of 30 seconds as well.
And seeing as these are timed exercises, just grab a stopwatch or download an app on your phone for 30 seconds for both these and the previous one, mountain climbers.
And just like the name explains, the planks, you wanna keep your body as flat as you can. A lot of people, what they do is they lift their hips upwards so they're not in a perfectly straight position, and it's gonna relieve a lot of tension off of the abs and lower back to make the exercise easier. But you also don't want to dip the hips too low because it's going to put unnecessary pressure on the lower back. So make sure you tense the abs and also the lower back to keep that nice plank position for the full 30 seconds.
All right, that wraps up day 1 of phase 1. Are you still with us? We hope so, because we got a long ways to go. The way we're going to do this video series is each video is going to contain 1 phase. And seeing as this is phase 1, it's going to be 3 separate days in this video. We just wrapped up day 1, so we will see you for day 2. Day 2 of phase 1. As you may notice with this plan, we're calling it day 1, day 2, day 3, as opposed to Monday, Wednesday, Friday, due to the fact that we know everyone's schedule is different, and due to work and school, you may not be able to do this on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So with day 1, 2, and 3, feel free to do this on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or however it fits into your unique schedule. We're getting this started off with deadlifts, 5 sets of 15 reps. Next, we're going to be moving on to landmine presses, 5 sets of 15 reps. And if at any point during this video or any of the other videos we do in our 12-week homework program, you're not sure exactly what the exercise is or how to perform it, check the description of the video, because in this one we've included our tutorial links for deadlift, landmine press, and more.
Landmine press. It's one of our favorites for developing the upper chest. The thing about a home workout is a lot of times dudes or girls don't have an incline bench or a whole incline station and able to hit the upper chest, or at least try to isolate the upper chest. So that's why we're doing the landmine press. It's a great tool to have in your arsenal to be able to develop the upper chest without any kind of inclined bench.
And now that we're on to day 2, we may not have shown it, but remember, we're still gonna be doing that 10-minute warm-up with a walk or a little bit of jump rope, and also our 5 to 10-minute mobility workout. We're gonna be doing that at the beginning of every single day of every single phase. Moving on to one of the famous, or maybe I should say infamous, exercises that we love doing. It's gonna be the alternating front lunges. That's gonna be 5 sets of 10 reps. And you can see we're starting this off easy. It's alternating front lunges. We're not to walking lunges yet, but hey, we still got 3 phases left. Prepare yourselves.
Once again, we're using the bench for cross bench pullovers. This is an isolation exercise because really you're only using the shoulder joint throughout the movement. And if you don't have a bench, well, there's always the old camping cooler. Weighted crunches with feet elevated on the wall, really trying to isolate those abs. And what you're gonna do is pull a dumbbell up to your chest, holding it there, and then you're gonna be pushing your lower back into the floor as you pick your shoulders, upper back off the floor, crunching in with the abs. Have a slight hold, and then bring your body back down to the beginning position. We're gonna be doing 3 sets of 15 reps. This is really gonna kind of pump those abs up, get a lot of blood in there, also build strength as well.
All right, we're ending day 2 with planks, just like we ended day 1, but there's gonna be a slight difference. These are gonna be side planks. What you're gonna wanna do is be to one side for 30 seconds, then switch to your next, like Brandon's doing now. That's gonna count as 1 set. And then for set 2, you're gonna do both sides 30 seconds each, and then finish it off with your final set.
All right, dudes and girls, that wraps up day 2 of phase 1. We're moving on to day 3 next. Hopefully you dudes and girls are still with us, so we'll see you on day 3.
All right, we are on day 3 of phase 1. Now remember, this is just the first week. You gotta repeat this twice because each phase lasts 3 weeks. So I hope this isn't too much for you, because remember, after this day, you actually still have 2 more weeks of this left to go. Having said that, I hope you did your 5 to 10 minute warm up, 5 to 10 minute mobility workout, because we are ready to get started.
Let's do it. Front squats is beginning this workout.
With the front squats, it's gonna be 5 sets of 15 reps. Once again, if you have access to a power rack, feel free and use it for this exercise. If not, just go ahead and do it as we are now.
Starting off with front squats, it's gonna be 5 sets of 15 reps. Now what you wanna do with this exercise is get a really wide stance. Your toes are gonna be slightly pointing outward. Your knees are gonna be following in line with your toes. This is not like a conventional back squat where you're pushing your hips back, seated like you're in a chair. And what you wanna do with this one is actually squat between the legs. Just think of your legs as like the trees, and your hips are gonna be like the hammock suspended between your legs. What you wanna do too is keep your elbows high, and as soon as you're at the bottom position, as you're pressing upwards, lead with the elbows to make sure your chest doesn't drop too much and round the back. So as you'll notice, we're just shoving the barbell in the corner with a little pad in the corner to protect your drywall and paint, and then we're wrapping just a cloth around the bar to act as the V grip, so we can do close grip bent over T-bar rows. And it's great, so you don't need to buy any extra equipment for this. You really just need a barbell, some 45s, a towel, and you can even just shove a towel in the corner as well if you don't have like a rubber pad or anything like that. We're gonna do 5 sets of 15 reps.
Dips, 5 sets of 15 reps. You may be looking at what Brandon's using right now and going, what the hell is that thing with those little tennis balls on the bottom? Well, that's our do-it-yourself parallel bar, which we built for a little under $50. And you can too by clicking on the video link to see how we made it. Ours is at about 18 inches in height, but you can feel free to build yours taller if you'd like to do dips. We built ours just tall enough where we can do our knees tucked up, tight to our chest in order to perform the dips correctly. Upright rows, 5 sets, 15 reps. You may notice that throughout the duration of the phase 1, day 2, day 3, you're going, hey, you guys are using a little lighter weight. Well, remember, as we said before, We want you to increase the weight gradually throughout the duration of each phase. So for the first week, day 1, 2, and 3, we're using a little lighter. For week 2, we're gonna get a little heavier. And then week 3, we're gonna increase it a little bit more once again before we move on to phase 2. Because we always wanna keep those muscles fatigued by the end of our rep range.
Glute bridges, they're gonna be 3 times 10, so 3 sets of 10 repetitions. Use a little pad on the bar to help the discomfort of the bar that's gonna be directly on your lower abdominals. These are really working on hip strength as well as glute strength. Also, they're rectus spinae to stabilize the spine. You'll notice that the lower body mobility, we include supine bridges or glute bridges for a mobility work, which is not necessarily a mobility exercise per se, but it is good to fire up those glutes beforehand, especially for any lower body work. But we're including this because it's weighted, so you're actually building strength in the glutes, hips, also lower back, and the core too, to help stabilize that spine throughout the motion. You really want to push through the heels and get a good squeeze at the top in those glutes, and then slowly lower it down to the bottom position. The pressures can be held in the upper back as you lift the hips off the floor, so your heels are on the floor and your lower back as you make that bridge position. All right, we got standing calf raises. It's gonna be 3 sets of 15 reps. What we did is just laid out 2 10-pound plates on the floor, so that way you get some good stretch when you bring those heels down, get some good contraction as you press the balls of the feet into the plates and bring those heels up to the top position, getting the full contraction of the calves. You're just gonna be holding some dumbbells, and you wanna make it heavy enough so you reach close to fatigue on the 15th rep.
Whew. 3 sets, 30 reps, 15 each side. Russian twists. All right, dudes and girls, that wraps up phase 1 of our 12-week home and gym workout plan. Remember, we're gonna have this exact same phase in the gym as well in another video, so everyone can follow along. Those of you who work out from home and those of you who work out in the gym.
What you want to do is in this first week, since there's 3 weeks every phase, what you want to do in this first week of phase 1 is really concentrate on rest times. So try to hit within the 60 to 90 second rest periods between sets, but as each week progresses, so when you come into the second week, try to decrease the amount of rest time you have between sets, and by week 3, you need to decrease it even more, possibly becoming into about 30 seconds rest time between each set. So you're really trying to work as not only on muscular endurance, but also your cardiovascular strength as well. So when you lead into the next phases, you'll be fully prepared for when those more advanced movements come into play, like supersets.
Again, we have the PDF in the description of this video. If you haven't, please download it. It has a frequently asked questions, answers a lot of the common questions we get a lot, including should women do this program, if you're a beginner, if you're advanced, nutrition, cardio, and so much more. We do these plans for free, dudes and girls, and we plan on keeping it that way in the future, but YouTube has an awesome new fan funding feature, so if you click the support button, you can help us out. And if you don't, hey, that's fine too. We're gonna still keep making these videos. So take care, dudes and girls, and we'll see you again for phase 2.